Late-night American TV superstar Jimmy Kimmel has been cancelled. Yes, you heard that right. He's been cancelled. I know what you're thinking. Is it because he was pushing the poisonous COVID jabs on the population throughout the so-called pandemic?
But unfortunately, more than 1 in 4 say they are not planning to get the vaccine ever. 26% of Americans are planning to skip the shot altogether, which is crazy to me.
The COVID jabs that led to the death and injury of thousands of Americans. No, it's not that. It's to do with some remarks he made about the death of Charlie Kirks. So let's have a listen. How bad are they?
Some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
Well, yeah, but they did. Now, I don't believe Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk, and if he did, I certainly don't believe he was acting alone just because he's some crazy leftist. But I'm not sure what Jimmy Kimmel said there that's not true. Now, bear in mind, I've got no skin in the game for this guy. Far from it. But if he's going to be cancelled, surely he's going to be cancelled for a reason, right? He must say something horrific at some point.
In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half-staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks? They've just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty.
Yes. Okay. He's at the 4th stage of grief, construction. There's demolition, construction. This is not how an adult grieves the murder of someone he called a friend. This is how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish, okay? And it didn't just happen once.
When I heard it, I was in the midst of, building a great... For 150 years, they've wanted a ballroom at the White House, right? They don't have a ballroom. They have to use tents on the lawn for President Xi when he comes over. If it rains, it's a wipeout. And so I was with the architects that would design. It's going to be incredible. And they came in, they said, Charlie Kirk is dead. I didn't know what they meant. I said, what do you mean dead? Charlie Kirk was shot. And they thought he was dead because it was so horrific, And I said, dead.
And then we installed the most beautiful chandelier. Sconces you wouldn't believe. There's something wrong with them. There really is. I mean, who thinks like that? And why are we building a $200 million ballroom in the White House? Is it possible that he's doing it intentionally so we could be bad about that instead of the Epstein list?
He's right. He's right. Okay, like I say, nothing in the game, no skin, not a single hair in the game for Jimmy Kimmel at all. But he's totally right. A reporter saying to you, about your friend, you've lost your friend, someone that you called a son, Donald Trump called him like a son, and to respond by saying, well, yeah, but we're building a ballroom, that's not normal behavior. And actually, Jimmy Kimmel's got a point. Now, you can be offended by it if you like, but it's true. In fact, I'm more offended by the reaction of Donald Trump. That's extraordinary. And that's not taking into consideration his reaction when he's at the baseball 2 days after his son, his son-like figure, has died. It's weird, and Jimmy Kimmel's pointing that out, and I think he's right to point it out. All he's saying is what most of us are thinking, which is that's quite a weird, narcissistic response, and it kind of is like a toddler reacting to the death of a goldfish. In fact, I think my kids would show more heart to the death of a goldfish than he has by changing the conversation immediately to a new ballroom. That is weird behavior, and Jimmy Kimmel's right to point it out. The problem is, the so-called right, the so-called free speech right in the United States has spent the last less than a week since Charlie Kirk's death pushing censorship and attacking free speech and trying to get people sacked for saying things online, something that they were railing against just a few weeks, months, years ago. It's extraordinary how the right has suddenly morphed into the left that they criticize so badly. Now, in terms of Trump, as soon as Kimmel was relieved of his duties, as soon as the show was taken off air, Donald Trump celebrates it, saying that it's good news. This is free speech, Donald Trump. This is not normal behavior, folks. Like I say, no skin in the game for Jimmy Kimmel, absolutely none whatsoever. But it's quite telling to me that this dude can push the jab on all of these Americans. He can bring these doctors on to try and explain to you that you should get jabbed. He even said he finds it weird that people don't want to get jabbed. You need to do it. And he still keeps his job and he stays on air. Not a problem. But you make a joke out of something like Trump's reaction, because he's not actually making a joke out of Charlie Kirks' death. He's making a joke out of Trump's reaction to it, which I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, is a joke.